Thomas? You seem particularly triggered right now. Can you tell me what happened?
I've had dreams that weren't just dreams. Am I crazy?
The Matrix is a series that is close to my heart. I was just the right age when the first film blew my mind, and even though I came to appreciate that movie as the best of the series, I still loved Reloaded. It could match the original in tone or story, so it ramped up on some cool action set pieces, and introduced some great characters such as the Merovingian and the twins. I ended up watching it over and over. I swear my friend and I must have watched it at least 50 times. It seems awkward now considering how cringy the style of The Matrix became, including how many times it was parodied, becoming a bit of a parody of itself by association. But back then, The Matrix was the shit. It blew people's minds and changed cinema, and the first movie deserved all the praise that it got. The only thing that hasn't aged in the years since is Morpheus being one of the coolest movie characters ever. And I'm sorry, but replacing him with a younger version is just not okay. Whatever reasons there are for it, it wasn't worth it. He's so much of an icon to The Matrix. Him, Neo, and, well, Trinity. It just feels wrong without him. People argue it's because he was officially killed off in a video game, while Neo and Trinity were officially killed off in the actual movies and they got to return. Neo may have been the audience's surrogate, but it was Morpheus who invited us to step through the door and discover what The Matrix truly is. As for The Matrix Resurrections, outside of being one of the most overused sequel titles known to man, it is certainly shaping up to be a slick looking movie, if nothing else. The trailer shows off some impressive visuals and cinematography, action, and the way it's all stitched together with the trailer music. It all works very well, which shouldn't be an overlooked important aspect of the original movies. The Matrix certainly had its own style, which set it apart from everything else at the time, which thankfully seems to have been kept in Resurrections, just with a fresh coat of paint. Like in a few shots, you just know you're looking at The Matrix, and that bodes well for the rest of the movie. The trailer reveals Johnny Silverhand attending therapy. This rather lackluster reveal of Neo is actually okay to me. We all knew he'd be back, we've seen it in promotional images, and trying to hold it off as some big reveal would only make people assume he is no longer like a large part of the story. Putting him front and centre just sort of reveals that he is still the main focus of the story, and was definitely the right call in the end. Phone's bad, boomer meme. It's revealed he's having dreams of the Matrix and is being given aesthetically pleasing blue pills to help, which apparently trips him the fuck out. He's walking through life in a semi-daze of awareness, but his the one senses are starting to tingle, and he suspects something is off. Choosing to forgo his normal pills, Neo meets a white rabbit, again, and follows her through a door to a reality check where the nature of the Matrix is revealed to him. Again. This is after a chance meeting with Trinity, now seemingly also alive and unaware of past events. They're bringing everyone back, as Neo also visits a younger Oracle, who is the program that was born inside the Matrix from Revolutions.
Cookies need love like everything does.
Which is a nice bit of continuity, and I do believe this movie is a direct sequel to the trilogy, even though I've seen people argue it only takes the first film into account as canon and disregards Reloaded and Revolutions as some type of soft reboot. But you can see shots of their machines repairing a broken Neo who is still missing his eyes in the opening clips. It's only a split second, but it is there, and that says to me this is a continuation, not a reboot, thankfully. We see more scenes that in some ways mirrors the original movie, such as the dojo fighting scene, although the context of these moments is clearly different. It appears Neo is becoming aware of why he's in the Matrix and of his own powers. Again. The shots of the machines show the power towers being harvested by, well, harvesters, but we see half the lights of the pods are now darkened. Are these the people that have chosen to leave the Matrix as they were promised at the end of Revolutions by the architect to be freed if they so choose? Or is it something else? We also have a glimpse of a new ship augmented with machine parts to be something of a hybrid. Now, if this was done in collaboration with the machines or in secret by humans, really depends on how peace with the machines is going, or if it's even still a thing. I think a lot of shots, such as with the agents, are intending to push you towards believing the peace is over, but this could be a misdirection. The rest of the trailer is mainly beauty shots of fighting, explosions, and gravity-defying movements. All very Matrix, and all very exciting. Seeing Neo stop bullets again, but in modern detail, took me right back to being that hopeful, excited teenager I once was, someone I can't identify with nowadays.
Oh,
What?
God.
You probably need no help for that.
I don't think the film will ever have the same impact it did when the first Matrix film came out. I mean, how can it with its themes of, spirituality and philosophy and future? They've been also thoroughly overused in cinema at this point, but it can still be a fun ride as long as there's some substance beyond the action. You could write entire books on the philosophy of the first Matrix, and people have. But it can also just be enjoyed by the regular cinema goer as a cool action movie. And that's what the film was like, at least in the 90s when your blockbuster movies could be challenging. It had ideas of self and society and still was a good action movie. However, the landscape of movies has also changed. Whilst more thought-provoking movies can find their place, such as Interstellar, one that also leans into action might find itself with its own identity crisis. And The Matrix might find itself changing with the time to fit a more crowd-pleasing box. Unfortunately, this film already has rumblings of becoming the usual culture war, especially on places like Twitter, and I really hate when that happens to films. This idea that they represent one thing and then draw a line in the sand and make it a red team versus blue team thing, like enjoying or hating specific movies defines you as a person, and people who saw the film differently or didn't like it, they're the enemy. They represent everything you don't like, even if it has nothing to do with the movie itself. As the director is trans, there's already posts claiming The Matrix is a trans allegory, but I find that really reductive. Even Lana herself has stated that she isn't aware just how much of a trans identity inspired the writing, but that she drew from plenty of places because she's a real person. Like everyone, she's not defined by a single aspect or has her entire existence revolve around it. It can be easy on Twitter to basically revolve everything you engage in around a single subject, but in the real world you tend to have plenty of things going on, interests, hobbies, favourite inspirational movies, many things that you build your identity around. I think it's kind of insulting to her work and as a director to call The Matrix, which is also full of philosophy and spirituality along with action and suspense, to call it just a trans allegory. It's a story that has elements of a hero's journey, spirituality, messages about the future and humanity. Hell, the film has more religious allegories than anything. Neo is basically 90s PC Jesus. He's one walking on water scene away from being almost two on the nose. But that's not all he is. It's yet just another tiny part of his character and, one of many inspirations towards that character. And that goes for the rest of the film. Trans creatives aren't just trans, and neither should their work be reduced down to just that. You can celebrate diverse creators and the influences of being trans on their work, or when their work is specifically about trans identity, without belittling their ability to create and imagine things outside of that one aspect of themselves. Trans people don't want to be known as just that trans artist, that trans director, that trans actor, only praising them because you think everything they produce is to do with them being trans. It's tiring and makes you feel lesser when you're bombarded by it. Trust me. Treat them like anyone else. Kubrick wasn't known as that cis male director. His work wasn't examined through the single lens of what does this mean towards his, gender identity. What does every one of his movies mean towards being a cis male? How did being a cis male inspire this scene? Trans creators and their work deserve the same broad examinations and respect. Anyway, with that out of the way, I'm going to get into some plot speculations. So my final thoughts on the actual trailer in general, I'd say it left me hopeful. I think it went as good as can be hoped. Whilst I don't think I've seen many series break out of the bad sequels done years later curse, except maybe Blade Runner, I'm still hopeful The Matrix can, and if not, at least be one hell of a ride. Now on to plot predictions. If I had to speculate on the actual plot, just going off this one trailer, and bear with me, that's not much information to go on, I'd say the film takes place after Revolutions. The machines have revived Neo, repaired the damage done to his body. Remember, the machines are thousands of years ahead of humanity by that point. Repairing someone's eyes wouldn't be out of their grasp. And he then appears to be replugged back into a version of the Matrix, maybe an isolated version of the Matrix as it appears a bit different, possibly in secret, and kept sedated inside with no memories of his past. Why the machines would do this, who knows? Maybe there's a sect of machines that has come to worship him, worship Neo as someone joining machine and humanity together. As Trinity was not plugged into the network when she died, it's possible the machines replicated her code and recreated an unknowing copy as a way to keep Neo in the system and distracted. You could have a life with Trinity, a normal life, why leave her again? She's shown to be made of code in a glimpse during the trailer, however later shots reveal she's also becoming something more, as she too can affect the Matrix like Neo, perhaps becoming independent and self-aware as they discover the Matrix together and make plans to escape. As this is happening, a small resistance group discovers Neo is alive and sends a copy of Morpheus into the system to begin revealing the truth to him, guiding him out, as they set out on a rescue mission to recover his actual body. This is where the hybrid ship will come in. Either a joint team of humans and machines looking to free Neo, or a purely human converted ship as a way to sneak past the machines. At least that's what comes to mind piecing it together from the trailer footage. I could be wildly inaccurate, but I'm excited to find out. I guess in December we'll find out if Neo in the Matrix has a successful resurrection, or if it should have stayed dead.
To be going back to where it all started. Back to the Matrix.